Hi everyone, Eric Stockland again with Charter Bay Home Builders, and this is our fourth video in our Chinese Drywall Remediation Series. In this one, we're going to go through the details of what do you do now specifically with items within the home. What do you do with your cabinets? Are they garbage or can you reuse them? What do you do with the studs? What do you do with the appliances? Specifically, what do you do with everything in the home? There are many companies out there right now, individuals out there right now, who are marketing solutions to this drywall problem. There are sealants, there are spray-on applications that are supposed to neutralize the negative effects of the reactive sulfur gases. Right now, scientifically speaking, there is nothing proven to be able to neutralize or encapsulate the effects of Chinese drywall. The only known solution, scientifically speaking, is to actually remove the Chinese drywall. Once you remove it, you've solved the problem. So those are the things we're going to focus on today. We're going to focus on the two primary protocols which exist today. The first one is the one you're looking at right now, which is the Consumer Product Safety Commission paired up with HUD, and they came out with these guidelines, which are the Chinese Drywall Task Force guidelines. These focus primarily on safety, what things need to be replaced within the home so that it's safe, so that the occupants are safe. Specifically, what their goal is to permanently eliminate all detectable odors, permanently eliminate all problems associated with the Chinese drywall corrosive gas emissions, permanently eliminate any occupant irritation that may be caused by Chinese drywall corrosive gas emissions, eliminate any evidence of prior problems that could negatively affect the home's resale value, and restore the home to a safe living environment. That is their primary goal with this document, and they outline what protocol should be followed to achieve that. This document is about 6 pages long. Judge Fallon's order is a much more extensive document. It is 108 pages long. This document goes through a lot more detail. It also is a more extensive document in terms of the requirements in order to follow this protocol. The motivations behind this document are different than the task force. In this case, you have a judge who is presiding over a multi-jurisdictional lawsuit of homeowners who have Chinese drywall in their homes and are now trying to receive some sort of a settlement in those cases. So his motivation is different in that they have plaintiffs and they have defendants, and what he's trying to do is determine if a guilty verdict is established, then how much should the defendant actually pay for. And in this opinion, he actually is specifying that a great deal of things need to be changed out that neither the Consumer Product Safety Commission's task force agree with, and in many cases, we don't agree with it either. So those are the things we're going to actually talk about today. Because it's confusing between the two documents, we've simplified it into a single one-page document that goes through all specific items in the home and what each task force and Judge Fallon recommend, and in addition, what we talk about and what we recommend. So let's go ahead and open this up and go through line by line. So the first thing is we've got 3 different columns here. The first one is the task force guidelines. Second one is Judge Fallon, and the third one is our recommendations. It's important to know that our recommendations are based on the assumption that you are a homeowner who is not receiving a payment or a settlement from your builder or the drywall company or whomever. We're making the assumption that these are your dollars, that you had to go get a loan or a line of credit or something to pay for all these changes. That is a much different situation than the Judge Fallon recommendations, because in that case, sure, if you've received a settlement from a builder, then absolutely change out all the appliances, absolutely change out all the flooring. But your decision may be different if you're going ahead with this and it's your dollars that you're spending, and you may be hoping at some point in the future to receive a settlement, but maybe you don't have one today. So we're making the assumption that the funds are coming from your pocket. First item on the list, everyone agrees, remove all Chinese drywall from the home. Not much discussion in that. As I said, no sealing, no treatments, nothing will fix it. Scientifically speaking, nothing will fix this other than taking it out. Next thing is, do you remove non-Chinese based drywall? What you'll find in these homes that have Chinese drywall, it won't be 100% Chinese drywall. There'll be mixtures of American board. There'll be American board on the ceilings. There'll be American board in the garages, outside on the patios. So the task force says no, you don't need to take out anything that isn't the Chinese drywall. Judge Fallon says yes, you do. For the most part, we agree with Judge Fallon. It's very, very, very difficult to actually determine where there is American board within the house. For example, there should never be Chinese drywall on a ceiling, but we have found it before, because when the drywall hangers are hanging away, they go as fast as they can go. And what happens is you have a mixture of Chinese board, American board. It's virtually impossible to find out which is which. So we agree with Judge Fallon. Go ahead and take it all out of the house. You do get a little bit questionable in terms of this decision when you get into the garage if the builders have followed code. If they followed code, then there should be no Chinese drywall board on the ceiling. There should be no Chinese drywall board on the walls. The problem comes in when a builder doesn't follow code and there's Chinese drywall in those areas. So in our opinion, it's better to be safe than sorry. Take all of that out. The exception to this is in bathrooms where you have wet areas, where you've got installed tile, whether it be on a garden tub deck or in the shower, etc. In those cases, it's very easy to make a determination if that board is actually a green board or a den shield, basically a backer board that isn't Chinese drywall. And in our opinion, it saves a tremendous amount of money not to tear all that out, put it back in, retile it, etc., etc. This is what the task force actually said, is that they found no health or safety reason to remove non-problem drywall. They also went on to say that the air conditioning units, the insulation, the plumbing, or the ducting also don't need to come out. Some of those we agree with, some of them we don't, but we'll talk about those as we go through. Next item, remove all electrical components, which are wiring, outlets, switches, circuit breakers. We're all in agreement that absolutely has to happen. Next, remove all fire safety alarm devices. Yep, everybody agrees. Got to come out, got to be replaced. Replace lamps, surface mount light fixtures like pendant lights, ceiling fans. CDW says no, you don't have to replace those items. Judge Fallon doesn't specify. And we say, if you're trying to watch your dollars as you do this, you don't need to replace those. Those can all be taken down. They can be reused. They can be inspected to make sure that they're in good condition, and they can each be reused, put back into the home, which can save a tremendous amount of money. Replacing appliances. The task force says no, you don't need to do that. You need to inspect them. You need to make sure that there isn't any excess corrosion or anything on them, but you don't need to replace them. Judge Fallon says yes, and in this case, we agree with the task force. When money is an object, then if your fridge works before you do the remediation, put it back in. It may fail in a year, but you will have gotten that use out of it and not had to spend the money up front. Now keep in mind as we're talking about these things that if you're a homeowner, and even though you're spending it out of your own pocket, if you want to take all of your appliances and replace them, we will absolutely help you with that. If you want to take and replace all of your light fixtures, we'll help you with that. This is just our guidelines of what we start with. Replacing electronics, this would be TVs, computers, all those kind of things. The task force says no, you don't have to. Fallon says yep, you do. We agree with the task force that if they're working, it's not necessary. Replace all gas service piping. Yep, we're all in agreement on it. Replace fire suppression sprinkler systems. Everyone agrees. Replace all AV wiring. That's your speaker wiring, your low voltage in your house, your cable, your phone. Everyone agrees. Got to come out. Replace your interior HVAC air handlers. The task force actually says no, you don't have to. Judge Fallon says yes, and we say yes also. The interior air handlers of the house are typically one of the things that allow people to know they have Chinese drywall because they start to fail multiple times. And that being the case, because they're taking so much abuse from the Chinese drywall gases, we do believe that it's a very good idea to change those out and start new. Replace exterior HVAC compressors. The task force says no, you don't have to do it. Judge Fallon says maybe, based on inspection, you might have to do it. We agree. The thing that happens is that you need to do an inspection of that unit to see if it has any negative consequence from the interior units. But the big thing that happens is that the homes that we're typically seeing, they have the old refrigerant. And when we go to replace the inside unit, the air handler, you also have to replace the outside unit so that the refrigerant types match. So typically you do end up replacing both. Replace the HVAC ducting. The task force says no, you don't need to. Judge Fallon and we are in agreement that they probably should be replaced. We do replace them in the jobs that we've done. The reality is that during the demolition process, there's so much dust that because of that amount of dust, it's going to be virtually impossible to actually remove that ducting. Now there is and we have not done it this way. We take the drywall out completely out of the ceiling, but there is an argument that can be made that says, if you have a ceiling that is confirmed that it has 100% American-made drywall, and you make the decision not to take that down, then you can also make a decision that, okay, if that's the case, maybe we should leave the HVAC ducting in place. We can actually protect the registers so that there's nothing getting in and out. It's a conversation point. We haven't done it that way, but I know that that's one of the suggestions that are out there in order to save money. So just food for thought.